Le Mans Ultimate recently released some updated content. We have the full grid of 2024 hypercars for the Isotta Fraschini and the Alpine added in, and we have another track in Circuit of the Americas. So in this video we're going to start off with the Isotta Fraschini, as you can see driving around on the track, and we will have a ride on board with it. And then we'll have a go with the Alpine. I did a bit of a race with it, and we'll see a couple of moments from it as well, before we then have a little bit of a wrap-up where I'm going to talk a bit about my thoughts on the game as it is, and potentially about the future of Le Mans Ultimate, especially with the recent news surrounding motorsport games. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Green flag, green flag.
So yeah, I mean, the content is quite nice. It's a lot of fun, and you can see the difference between the different hypercars, especially the Alpine, the LMDH. It drives a bit similarly to, say, the Acura in iRacing, which makes a lot of sense because they're both based on the same platform at the end of the day. And the chassis are quite similar, and the design, the bodywork is also pretty similar between the two of them. And I like that about it. I like the feel that the game has. The thing is that it is still very much R-Factor 2. Like the graphics, the kind of peaks of the graphics engine, where it isn't as perfect as it could be, you can tell that that's an R-Factor 2 influence. Or another case for it is when you're considering the fact that you can still have these game freezes and game drops, and the AI will just suddenly catch up to you through them, which is another thing that R-Factor 2 has. There are these little bits of unoptimization, or I'm saying unoptimization, but a lack of optimization, should I say, that carry across from R-Factor 2 to LMU. And it's why I'm surprised that some of the features they haven't carried across are things like the multiplayer with driver swaps, because you could do that in RF2 and it's actually pretty alright. I've done I won a class in 24 Hours of Nürburgring a couple of years ago, and whilst there are some little gimmicks to it, like in regards to the car selection screen, it still works. It's still workable. I mean, iRacing is obviously still the cutting edge when it comes to multi-class, multi-driver endurance events. But it's better than ATC's mechanisms sometimes. It just has its own unique issues. But yeah, the state of LMU and the stuff with Motorsport games, because that is going to be a problem. It looks like Motorsport games are up for sale, and Le Mans Ultimate has, I think, been a success, but there are also other limitations they have. So, for example, the fact that we haven't had some kind of virtual Le Mans or virtual Le Mans series happening in LMU at the moment. And obviously that's a bit they want to get back up to, but the way they're doing it in the meantime is by trying to launch a subscription model for certain online servers, which is a bit of a shame, but hey, people pay a lot more for iRacing. And that then makes me think about the DLC. Like, to get the game now, the price has gone up. So in the UK, it's just under £30. And that's without the other packs. So to then pick up the packs, you then have to spend another £40 or so. But if you think about it, you would get, and I know I'm saying spending over AAA prices, you're spending more than you would on, say, EAWRC for LMU with all the DLC. But at the same time, whilst you are spending that much money, contrast that with iRacing. Because sure, you might get a couple of those tracks for free, but you get 2 seasons worth of content, which if you were to pay for the tracks alone in iRacing would be more than you're spending on LMU and the season pass. And then you definitely want at least one hypercar, which would be another £12, maybe a GT3, and maybe 1 or 2 others as well, so that you have a nice blend. So you have like a hypercar LMH and a hypercar LMDH, and so you have, say, a front-engined and a rear-engined or a mid-engined GT3. You're talking about spending over £100. And yes, iRacing is a more complete product, but if you're somebody who's got a G29 and you're just looking for something fun that's got official licensing content, you go for LMU over iRacing. That said, if I was to go for any of them and recommend any of them for you, I'd recommend AMS2 any day of the week. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.